Alright everybody, welcome back. So Gaijin finally went ahead and released the October update, coming in clutch on the 31st of October, so happy Halloween everybody. And another better late than never, they went ahead and added the F-111A. This thing is definitely very overdue for the game. It probably should have come quite a while ago. I would have expected you would have had one of the later versions, like the F-111F, for example, with laser-guided bombs. You know, the famous one from the Gulf War. But in any case, what exactly are we looking at? Well, as anyone who has watched my channel before knows, I fly pretty much every aircraft to actually shoot players. So I'm not going to be doing much bombing in this video. We're going to be trying to fly this thing as a fighter, because it does get 6 sidewinders and it does have the best performance out of any F-111, but it's still an F-111, and the Aardvark wasn't exactly known for being an exceptional fighter. I mean, we're talking about the plane which the Navy version of which had to get 2 weight reduction programs. It had the Super Weight Improvement Program and the Colossal Weight Improvement Program before they finally gave up and made the F-14. So that should just give you an idea what you're looking at. My biggest issue, and what I think is the worst part about this aircraft by far, is the absolutely terrible speed bleed whenever the wings are back. You can see right there, I lost probably 100 or 200 kilometers an hour just from hitting the S button right there. And that really doesn't help you when you're trying to shoot people, because sure, a degree of energy loss is great, but whenever every time you touch anything to do with pitch, you're losing speed, it's really not ideal, especially when you have, for example, somebody on your 6 and you're trying to dodge their shots. If every time you hit your S key, you're losing speed, for example, an F5 is going to just be able to creep up on you, because they're going to sit there going a little bit above Mach, and you're not able to get your speed back, because this thing's acceleration also isn't great. The thrust to weight just kind of isn't there. It's not terrible, but it's not enough to make up for that absolutely massive speed bleed. Now, when the wings are forward, it does have some pretty good energy retention. It's still very heavy, and it's not going to be dogfighting, most of the stuff that's at this speed. It's also an incredibly massive target, so even if you could pull someone into a rate fight, for example, they're probably going to be able to get the shot off ahead of time. Now, assuming you do manage to get them into a dogfight, or you're forced into a dogfight, your best bet is just going to be putting the wings all the way forward. If you don't have that bound, to make sure you do so. So swap in the semi-automatic, and then make sure to use your combat flaps, because just like the F-14, which, I mean, makes sense, this thing is, kind of the predecessor to the F-14, it does have some really, really nice combat flaps. Overall, though, if you're trying to fly this thing as a fighter, I just wouldn't even play it, to be honest. There's much better options at 10.3, like the F5, for example, or you can always just play, the F5E at 10.7 and have a great time. There is actually one cool little thing I wanted to mention. I did say it carries 6 AIM-9s. Well, that's not 100% true. You can actually bring 2 more sidewinders on the internal bomb bay. So it's kind of like the F-22's weapons pod. It's supposed to move the sidewinders down a little bit to get on the airflow, as far as I'm aware. But as of right now, they don't have it animated. I don't think this actually ever went into service, but I mean, hey, it looks pretty cool. I wouldn't recommend giving up your Vulcan for it, though. Now, one way you can mitigate the speed bleed is by using full reel controls like I'm doing right here, and just slowly pulling your nose across, but it still doesn't really help all that much, and it's not super viable if you're actually having to fight people. It's just something you can keep in mind. Now, I said earlier you get 6 sidewinders. This does only get access to AIM-9Bs right now. Now, Gaijin did say it may get better missiles in the future, because it is also compatible with the AIM-9E and the AIM-9P and the AIM-9J, so it may get some of those in the future. But as of now, this is all we're going to get. And I mean, at 10.3, 6 AIM-9Bs isn't terrible, but they are still AIM-9Ps. They're incredibly easily flared, they have the worst motor out of any of the AIM-9s, and they are also a caged missile. So, not amazing. I didn't get a ton of kills with them. You're probably not going to either. It's just, I mean, hey, you have them. You can launch them at people that either aren't paying attention, people that you want to get to turn, or people that are already crippled and just trying to finish them off. Your main weapon, of course, is going to be your Vulcan. I would highly, highly, highly recommend always taking this. You get 2,000 rounds, which is an absolute ludicrous amount of ammo for a gun in War Thunder. I haven't had the best luck with it today. It may just be me getting unlucky, but I got an absolute ton of assists when I'm playing this aircraft. I don't know what was going on, but I'd had 4 or 5 kill assist games within 1 or 2 kills. My kill to death ratio is terrible right now. But assuming it's working right, of course, 2,000 rounds is more than enough to clear out basically the entire enemy team with a little bit of trigger discipline. You're basically never going to run out of ammunition, so that is one really nice thing about this aircraft. it's not the best for actually shooting with it, especially because, I don't know about y'all, but I like being able to zoom in to see people. And as you can see right there, whenever you zoom in, the plane is so big that it basically takes up your entire screen. And especially like if someone activates an order or someone like that, if there's anything popping up at the top of the screen, like the ground force rescuer thing right there, it's going to block your vision of whoever is coming at you. So if you're going to be using this thing a lot, you're probably going to want to see, that's a perfect example right there. You're probably going to want to go ahead and get used to shooting without actually zooming in. It's just not the most ideal as a gun platform, unfortunately. Now, you've probably been hearing a horn going off and seeing, you know, a missile warning popping up. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but as of right now, this is the only aircraft in War Thunder that has a MAWS system. At least the only plane in War Thunder that has one. Helicopters have already had it. So what this does is going to warn you for any missile that's fired at you. This includes friendlies, but this means that if someone fires an IR missile at you, you're actually going to know it's coming now. As long as it's in the rear hemisphere, it doesn't seem to work from the front or the sides. Which is really cool, honestly. I was not expecting this to drop with this, and it's a unique and interesting feature for this aircraft, and really helpful as well. I can see this being super useful in ground RB if you're going to be playing that there. Here we go, it's going off. Only problem is that by default, the MAWS is slave to your countermeasures. So as you can see, when people are firing missiles at me, it's automatically salvoing off flares. This F4E, the friendly F4E right there, is going to fire one, and it's going to deplete my entire stock of flares without me touching it. Which is wonderful. I think I had like, what, 3 missiles fired at me total? So I would recommend going in, binding countermeasure slaving to MAW, and then go ahead and turn it off, just like I'm doing right here. Now, it'll still warn you the missile is coming, but it won't go ahead and lob off all of your countermeasures for you. Now, here's that promise bomb run that I talked about earlier. You can carry an absolutely ludicrous amount of bombs in this thing. I'm just carrying the 500-pounders right here. Gaijin took a little bit to give me my test drive, so I didn't decide to go ahead and Golden Eagle all the bombs. So you are able to carry enough bombs to destroy every base on the map if you wish to do so. Only problem is if you want to carry that many, you have to use those outer pylons, which I would highly not recommend doing so, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. To be honest, though, you are kind of limited on your speed whenever you're running these bombs. Like, I was having a hard time going past like Mach 1.1, which coincidentally is the bomb release speed for this thing. So if you're going Mach 1.1 or more, you're not able to drop bombs. At least the ones that I was using right here. I didn't check every single bomb. So it being kind of limited to that speed does kind of help, I suppose, just a little bit. But you can see I drop my bombs and I'm immediately getting jumped by people. This thing does not like having to deal with, especially multiple enemies, but it's not a competent fighter. If you're gonna bomb a base, go light, and then I wouldn't rush straight into a base like I did right there. If you may recall, I said earlier you don't want to run a full load of bombs. Yeah, if you run the outer 2 pylons, if you can see right there, it actually blocks your wing sweep control. This makes you a subsonic aircraft if you decide to load up the outer pylons, and considering this plane is not the most agile and it's also a massive target, that's really not a good idea. It makes it even better because you can't ditch the outer pylons. So if you decide to keep them on, even if you drop all your bombs just like I did right here, once you get past like 1,000 kilometers an hour, it's going to start giving you a warning and your wingtips are going to rip off. Now, the only good news in this case is that it seems like it doesn't actually count you as dead, and the plane is still controllable because your elevators move up and down as well to give you roll control, as you can see right here, but I still would not recommend it. Just run the inner bombs. In any case, though, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Are y'all excited for the Vark? Well, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch y'all next time. So, peace, y'all.